I'm doing it today.
Miss Volkman.
Yeah, I mean, not really, but okay. So I start reading the intro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome everyone to the reflections on the 12 steps. Just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting. It's one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong, as described on page 64 of the Big Book and the solutions contained within. This is not an OSHIA meeting, so shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. I think we left off on page 84, right?
Yes.
I think the last thing you read was, are these extravagant promises? And then it continues with step 10.
I think we should just start at the bottom of 84.
Okay. Okay. And we have ceased fighting, yeah?
Yes.
And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition.
Let's stop there for a second. We should just repeat this for about 10 times. So, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone. That wasn't the case here, but I did cease fighting about the drinking and using. But then I did, the head kept on fighting about not getting its way and stuff like that. But the big impediment was removed. Yeah. Which is that thing that casted a shadow on every part of my life. Yeah. It sort of eclipsed the sun. And in my case, that was the most important aspect, to have that removed. Allowed a momentum to begin. To me, I believe recovery progresses. And as you stay in this condition, more and more gets revealed, and there's a momentum, yeah, a power that it's sort of like if someone yells at you in the street, before you used to stop, this you keep going. So the head yells at you and it tries to tell you you're fucked or whatever, but you just move right along. Yeah, yeah. So it's all those sirens of Ulysses. They don't have you turning around. That's an amazing condition. And I think they really capture the spirit, I feel, of the program, which it is not obviously a self-help program. It's a reliance on a higher power program. Yeah. If it was a self-help program, when they would describe the effects, you would be a big part in it. Yeah, you lifted enough weights, so now your biceps are 24 inches, whatever. But there's basically you have very little role in it except to observe it and then watch it express itself through you. Yeah, I feel that's how it looks like to me. So, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. Well, you're not fighting alcohol, really. It's alcoholism. Yeah. Alcohol hasn't done anything to you, really. It was the ism using alcohol that kicked your ass. For by this time, what time? The time of being where you are in the time of the program. Yeah. Now you're moving into 8 and 9. And at this time, uh, for by this time sanity will have returned. The sanity that wasn't preceding the first drink. There was an insanity that preceded the first drink, and now there's a sanity that precedes the first drink, and you don't take the first drink. So this is not about learning how to stop. It's not starting. Yeah, you just don't start drinking again and using. And then all the skillful means are sort of academic because you don't drink. Yeah. You don't have to have all these, 99911 numbers and everything else, or the nearest rehab. You do to share with others, but you're not using it. Yeah. Yeah. So for by this time, sanity will have returned. And isn't that what the program specifically offers, that you will be restored to sanity concerning the insanity that precedes the first drink? Now, there could be 20 years of insanity that precedes the first drink, but it precedes the first drink. Yeah. The first drink does not produce the insanity. There's an insanity that brings us to the point of drinking. Yeah. With all the knowledge, all the self knowledge, it doesn't work. Yes. This compulsion will have us pick up that bottle. As soon as you drink, the genie comes out and it has more than 3 wishes for your ass. You're going to be you're going to be wishing you didn't get those wishes, really. So for by this time sanity will have returned. They're giving us like signposts for the process. Yeah. They don't say the years, they say the steps. What step you're on represents a certain condition that's shared. It's a collectively shared condition. You may have your own subjective experience of it, but you're being brought to the same condition the other recovering alcoholic is being brought to. Yes? The sanity. Yeah, so we're sharing. This is why we're so connected. Yeah, this is why this description is the most apt description I've heard. Yeah, and this was from 1939. Yeah, but it depicts what the situation that I feel I was more than any psychological paper or whatever. It's a perfect description, and then the effects are perfectly described because your role is minimal. It's so obvious here that you're just sitting there because you followed some simple suggestions and you're now observing an effects that are happening that you're not causing. Yes? Something is doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. That is actually the creed of recovery. Yeah. I wish we'd apply it to the older power. But at least we have the application to the newer power that causes us to have gratitude and an empathy for others and all that stuff. Yes? I would like to see you cook up some empathy. You can't. You'd fucking put the wrong shit in. You pick the wrong ingredients. Yeah? But you find yourself being in conditions that you had no idea that you could ever be in. Yes? By being taken out of a condition, which is active alcoholism, an active addiction. We're taken out of that condition, and then we find ourselves observing new conditions. Now, if you want to own them, great. Or I'm a selfless person, or I'm super grateful. Fine, I don't care. Tell me how many sponsees you have. 35. Every second of the day, you're reading the book. I don't care. I don't. What I do care is the relief from the bondage. Yeah. Sooner or later, you're going to realize it doesn't have much to do with you. Yeah, sponsoring doesn't have much to do with the sponsor or the sponsee. It's a verb. Yeah, yeah. As long as the verbs go in, you can change the sponsor and the sponsee. Yeah, but the sponsoring is the key. Yeah. So For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. This is true in my experience. Yeah. There was a trippy thing. There was a lot of thoughts about getting high, but there was also a drive or like a radioactive isotope that, you know, combined with those heavy thoughts just drove me to drink, really. Yeah. I didn't know how to jump out of that speeding car. I mean, I had tried and I got my ass destroyed and I still went back to driving the car or being driven, really, by the driver. Yeah. But when that in this program, well, I got sort of lucky. I got sort of struck sober. So it was easy for me because that urge had been removed. Yeah. That really lit fire to all those, like the thoughts were kindling, but what really lit the fire was this drive, this urge. Yes. This sense of irritability, restless, and discontent. That was the gas on the kindling. The thoughts just was what was burned, but the burning of it was something else. That was removed. That's incredible, eh? Because I'll tell you, I had been burnt out so much, and it was still fire. It was still finding firewood to fucking cook me even more. It was amazing. I didn't know how low I could go because I would move in to a bottom. I would. I'd have people over. I was always anxious because I knew I was going to be evicted to a worse one, but I tried to get as high as I could before I got evicted to another level of bottom. Yeah, I didn't see how it was ever going to end. I was experiencing a hopeless state of mind and body that was only seemingly so, but it was seemingly so to me. Yeah. And I would do almost anything, pay any consequence tomorrow not to feel uncomfortable at this moment. Wow, that is spiritless servility. I don't think you can describe it any better. Spiritless servility. So we will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it from a hot plane. Yeah, I had all that. We react sanely and normally concerning the drinking and using. It's taken a while for that to leak out into the other activities where I react sanely and normally. Yeah. But in most cases, mixed with a little old age, it's working really good. If you want to have if you want to have a spiritual path, just get older. It's gonna a lot of those hot desires are just gonna be you just don't have the you look at the payoff, the cost ain't worth it. You just don't fucking do much, really. I love to look at gazelles. I don't want to have a gazelle. Just, it's just, yeah. So don't worry, it's built in. Just get older. A lot of you're gonna lose interest in a lot of shit. So we react sanely and normally, at least concerning that moment, those moments before that precede the drink and make it not a drink. Yeah. Yeah. We will find that this has happened automatically. Have you or have you not found that to be? I feel it's true. This is the most apt description. It happened automatically. Yeah. I did this and then that happened. Yeah. But this didn't produce the that. I did this and then that happened and something else while I was doing this produced the effect of that. Yeah? That's how I observe it. And we will find that this has happened automatically. Wow. We will see what is that but observing. Yeah? We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. So the great goal truly is not, it doesn't have any effort or thought involved in it. Yeah. Effort and thought has its place, but it is not the cause of the effects. I think it keeps us busy so the operation can continue, so that you don't squirm around and get up every second. Yeah. So you live a life as best you can sober. And while you're doing that, the operation can go because you're not squirreling around. Yeah. There's somewhat of a stillness and some shit can get removed. Yeah. I think that's the point. Yeah. It's like, did the sedative produce the do the operation? No. But the sedative puts you out so you could be operated on. To me, the program is what puts us out, yes, so that the operation of recovery can continue. But does the but does the act of doing these things produce the effect? It's not said here. It's said a higher power does it with no thought or effort on your part, and it happens automatically. Yeah. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. Yes. This is such an enlightened paragraph. Just blows your mind, doesn't it? You saw those pictures, Bob and Bill? They looked like people from the mortuary. When I was a kid and I would go to a funeral, the guys at the door looked like Bill and Bob with the suit and shit, with the very drawn whitish skin. It's like fucking Phantasm, if you ever saw that horror movie. That tall guy. It's sort of like, wow. And then you hear this, a light of life in them. Yeah, it blows your mind, I feel. So we will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. But if you need to avoid temptation, do it. Definitely. Yeah. I remember the first year, after a couple months, I went back to clubs. I did. Yeah, because I had this idea of, oh, it was magical dancing to, Fame by David Bowie, totally fucked up, and knowing that babe was looking at me. Yeah, fucking, it was like heaven, so to speak. So I went back. I remember, and I sat at the bar, and there was a pretty woman next to me, and I started talking like I used to talk, and then the words fell out of the air before they even hit her. I said, "Oh, this is so bogus." I got up and split because charm had been turned into something weird with alcoholism. You know what I mean? It was, and the words were like, and there was no momentum. Went boom, and I just looked down, picked them up, and left the bar, left the club, never to go back again. Yeah, but I did. I checked it out. It says you can. Yeah, but if something is if there's a limitation for you, it's not going to be forever, probably. So it says we need to practice these principles in all our affairs. At times and places, you can't do that, so you limit the affairs. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to be able to. Yes. Yeah, you know how bad it sucks at a club if you're not loaded? It really sucks. You can't hear shit. There's a long line to the bathroom, and they're not defecating. They're doing other stuff. It's just a drag. You're standing around. You're at the effect of the DJ. Yeah. Unless you're probably not going to hear anything you really like. It just sucks. Just But when it was all about me, I was just absorbed. Yes, incredibly. Wow. So it just comes. That is the miracle of it. Do you think this is a real phenomena or is this the way it works? I find this the way it works. A lot of shit just comes. Yeah, it does. As see, something can hit you if you're not moving all the time. So when you get stilled by recovery, the downloads don't go to your neighbor. They go to you. Yes, you're receiving the mail. And life can be so specific. It's beautiful. Yeah. You're thinking about something and then you go to the meeting and it's the topic. Yeah. It's just so wild. And you get on a new like radio wave. Yeah. Where coincidences galore are happening and you see like the synchronicity of stuff. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's a joy in a way. Yeah. It's just that is the miracle. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. Yes. I feel that now, today. Yeah. Almost every day is measured by us of a neutrality. Yeah. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. What we're sharing here is the problem, though, may be existing as us. Yeah. To me, what will really stabilize the problem does not exist for us is to see the problem does not exist as us. Yeah. It's like having a flu that tells you it's you. Yeah. It is. Alcoholism is like having a flu that tells you it's you all day. So now you live with a fucking chronic flu. And instead of Robitussin, you're drinking and doing that, trying to get relief. But this is of the mind. Yeah. It's of the mind. It's a subjective hell that we live in. Yeah. Of course, some of us have had the settings and the circumstances, like the Bowery, or here it's the Tenderloin in San Francisco. Every place has its area where it's being portrayed very, very clearly in a picture, yes, outside. But a lot of people are in a very wealthy area right now, and they're in a subjective hell. Yeah. And it may even be worse because they believe the story that it would always be much better if all this was taken care of, and now it has all been taken care of and it's not better. It's gnawing, yes. And they're just as afraid as when they were buying their first house with their fourth house. Yes. They share as if they were walking around the street looking for a refrigerator box to sneak into around their fourth house. This is subjective. Heaven and hell are subjective conditions here. Yeah. When this flu takes us over, we live in a subjectified hell. We live in a seemingly so hell. Yeah. This is why it confuses people. Why don't you just stop? Yeah. That's what it makes sense to them because they believe you, all about you. Yeah. But you have been taken over by this flu, and the flu keeps telling you it's you. Maybe you could have stopped, but the flu doesn't want to stop. And it wins out. Yeah. So I really believe if you want that this does not exist for us anymore to stabilize, I would look at it as it does not exist as us. Page 64. The exact nature of what has defeated us is foreign to us. Yeah. It keeps talking to us, and we live its life as us. Yes. So when it says, I hate this person, you believe you hate the person. When it says, I'm afraid, you say, I'm afraid. Yeah. Most of the time, you don't know how you feel, really. You're waiting for the head to tell you. I had a good day, I had a bad day. What? It just makes something up. Yeah. It has you out to lunch. You're not even aware of what's going on. So when you get home, it tells you you had a terrible day. Why shouldn't I believe it? It seems to be me. I had a terrible day. Yeah, it's insane. So it does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. This is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. Well, I believe uh, when the mental condition is minimal or diminished, then you are in fit spiritual condition. I do not believe you go to a spiritual gym and you lift spiritual weights. I believe you lose interest in self. Yeah. And in diminishing the obsession with the mental state, losing interest in self, you have a spiritual awakening. You find an unsuspected resource right where you are, which we call spirit. And this now becomes what we rely on. And being reliable, it can do for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Yeah, which is what? Stay freaking sober a day at a time, not with gritted teeth or vows and promises, but with an ease and comfort, enjoying the sobriety. Yeah. Have you ever? Wow. Yeah. So it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do. For alcohol is a subtle foe. I would put alcoholism, yeah. Obviously, alcohol isn't subtle. It's liquid. Yeah. It's not subtle. Does like tequila talk to you differently than whiskey? Then they have their own language. Your bottom is going to be in Spanish or in English. It's what the fuck? It's alcoholism is the subtle foe. Yeah. It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. Wow. We are not cured of alcoholism. But on another level, the problem will not exist for you anymore. That's incredible, eh? Can the problem exist for you? Yes. Can it exist for you? It's a possibility. When it's not existing for you, yes. Yeah. There is a potential. So if you get a little out there and you decide that you can drink civilly, yeah, that problem may exist again for you. It will. Yeah. A lot of people with 20 years have found this out. When they've gone out, they had a huge surprise waiting for them. That urge to drink and use came back. Yeah. So here, we are headed for trouble. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. How about maybe entertaining that you are a spiritual condition? I would say being awake to your nature as being spirit would be the highest form of maintenance. Seriously. Yeah. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. You can put that burden down too. You'll find that's happening. Yes. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts that must go with us constantly until the Spirit moves you. Yeah. This is early on. This is for people who are coming into the program. Yes. Maybe you use thoughts to combat thoughts for a while, But really what wins out is spirit. You're more moved and sensed, not thought. Yes? Yes. These are thoughts that must go with us constantly. I don't really want to have any thoughts go with me constantly. Seriously. I don't really, the thought system, how it's structured in alcoholics and stuff, I'm not high with the thought system. I don't value it that much. Yeah. I think it's been co-opted to do something else. Yeah. Like think about you most of the time. I think we could do with a lot less of that. Yeah. Now, I do not believe self can get out of self, but I believe we can get out of self. Yeah. So these are thoughts that which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. And I'll tell you, if you use your will, after a while, you're going to realize I'd rather be moved by that which is driving me, I feel. Yeah, so go ahead, use your will as best you can. But as the process continues, you're really going to let go of the wheel. Yes? Yeah. Yeah, because before you were grabbing the wheel because you were driven by a crazy driver. Yeah, after a while you'll realize, remember, when your bike was aligned and stuff, you wouldn't have to hold the handlebars. Yeah. Remember that growing up, there would be a day that you'd let go and you could still ride, and it was a whole new chapter of your 10-year-old life or whatever, yes? Wasn't it? But the bike needed to be aligned. If it wasn't, it would shake and go to the left or right. Yeah? But now in a certain point, we're holding the handlebars, but then the life gets aligned. Yeah? And it's time to let go. Yeah? You're paddling, but now you're all open and seeing things. Yeah, wasn't it a blast when you didn't hold the handlebars? I thought so. Yeah. The thing was still being moved, and the good orderly direction was set. Yeah. And you can ride the bike the rest of your life without putting your hand on the handlebars. You can. So this is awesome, actually. What Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. Yes. To some extent, we have become God conscious instead of self conscious. We're conscious either way, yeah? When you're self conscious, your best quality of consciousness is sort of unconscious, and you're in spiritless civility and shit. But when you get into, let's say, conscious or God conscious, yes, so lose interest in self, then there's a loss of interest in the self-consciousness, and now you're conscious of consciousness. Yeah, try it out. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from Him who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. I just want to read step 11, yeah? A little. Are we all right? Or someone wants to share? Let's go with this little bit. because I want to share this a little bit. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. Yeah. But what's the point of step 11? It's not prayer and meditation, it's to improve one's conscious contact. And they suggest prayer and meditation. You're going to find a lot of things improve your conscious contact in your life. Maybe jumping in cold water, walking the dog, whatever. Yeah, there's going to be a vast array of things that will improve your conscious contact. I noticed a lot of people would get stuck because they're very anxious and they can't meditate. Yeah, they can't sit still. So now they only had one access, they thought, which was prayer. These are suggestions. There could be thousands of suggestions. They just suggested prayer and meditation. But the point isn't prayer and meditation. It is to improve one's conscious contact. And I believe the consciousness is going to reveal to you many ways to improve the conscious contact. I do. Yeah. Get a chime for your house. Get a fountain, water fountain, if that does it. There's so ways of just triggering and the ability to enjoy peace of mind. So if you're not good at meditation and you believe you don't pray, if you go to meetings, you say two prayers at the meeting anyway. So you are praying. The first before in the beginning and in the end is prayers. So if your head's saying you don't know, you don't pray, yes, you do. If you go to a meeting, you pray. So, but I wouldn't let, walking, whatever it does that works for you. The point is to improve that contact. Why? You want that to strengthen while the contact to the self weakens. Yes? Losing interest in self would be less self-conscious, more God-conscious. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, this is such an incredible. Yes. And then we'll get to the next meeting. We'll get the page 86, which is you can use that as your 24-hour like map for design for living. Yes. I recommend it, especially when you're new, because it tells you what to do when you wake up and then before you go to bed and everything in between. All right. So we'll open it up. So we'll be going back at we'll be at the bottom of 85 next time. And then that'll be it with into action. Cool. I'm blaming Kathleen for all this. She tricked me into this stuff. Yeah, I see you, Kathleen. Don't move farther from the couch. I see you right now. Yes. All right, so open up. Welcome, everyone. I hope all of us are sober today. If not, get to a meeting. Let the process start in you. Yeah. We got Rico.
Rico, yeah, is here.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. I send you love and life from my heart to yours. I just wanted to pop in and thank my sister from another mister, Miss Kathleen, for the suggestion, because the big book's been quite a ride with the non-do experience. It's a different book, so I really appreciated that. I've been here for a couple of summers and been to the book 1,000 times. This is a different kind of ride, and I like it. So Kathleen, I don't care what they say about you. I love you, baby.
Yeah. Yes. She's got a large camp of admirers. Yes, this is the idea of when it says the reflections on the 12 steps is from this idea of the exact nature of the wrong. Yes, it's not my reflection. It's a reflection coming from recognizing the exact nature of the wrong is foreign to me. Yeah. And I don't think that's a unique phenomena. I think it's all of us collectively. This, in that statement of being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. We're both mentioned. Self is mentioned and us is mentioned. Which one are you on, really? You're either in us or you're in self, so to speak. Yeah. Us can get out of self. Self can't get out of self. Us can get out of self. Yeah. Our nature is not in self. Our nature is before that. Yeah. Yeah. We can't return to that nature as self, but we can see we're not self and we'll be that nature. Yeah. That's the view that I have of the book. Yes. I have not built up a spiritual condition. I've let a mental condition get diminished by the habits and the suggestions and all the skillful means that I was introduced to this with this way of life, and being given the balls to face life somewhat successfully, or just to face life and find that I could face it successfully. Yeah. All a great gift from something through the program. And now if I would have done it through some other thing, we'd be talking about that. But no, this community and this way of life is what allowed the surface waters to calm down enough that I could see through the surface and see the deep. Yes? Yeah. Forever grateful for that. To be a really selfish 70-something-year-old is a fucking weird thing, man. I just don't see myself buying a bindle of Coke at a club unless it's a senior citizen club. The guy how hides it in his wheelchair. Hey, bro. That period's over. Yeah. And as it should be. Yeah. 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 As it should be. I mean, different times of life, you ride a different horse. Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to want a bucking bronco in the 70s when you're in the 70s. Oh, all the thrills and chills. You rather sort of avoid that. Uh, well, anyone want to share? It's such a lovely, everyone who's here was able to be here probably because of sobriety. Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Yeah.
Rico, otra vez.
Yes, because I couldn't unmute myself. I just want to tell Paul, now only thing I'm looking for is the No Stress Express. Not looking for anything exciting. Give me the No Stress Express and I'm good to go.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Just butter my toast and I'm in heaven. Yeah, there you go. That's all. Uh, yes. Anyone else? The head
Okay.
still, the head still thinks it's 16, 15. It does. But if I go to the junior high, I'm going to get arrested now. You can't. Yes. I'm be a suspicious character. Yeah, it's funny. All right, we have Kay. Kay's there. Here.
Yeah, I'd love it if I could go through life now, like, because I'm off from substance. There's a choice. with no anxiety at all. But for me, anxiety it improves my sobriety. And I'm a poet, I don't know it. But I'm a cat amongst the pigeons here because I still like the chaos. But that's where that prayer and meditation comes in. And I thought, when I first thought of it, I thought of it, pray first and then go on a excuse me, a YouTube meditation video, and I thought that's going to do it because it says prayer and meditation. But I didn't realise that in that step 11, you can do the prayer and the meditation in one. And I argued this constantly with the sponsor who knows best, and then he's like, yeah, but it says prayer and meditation, not prayer then meditation. So yeah, I think I think now it's drummed into me. I'm starting to get it a bit more. But yeah,
Great.
it was not easy. But I've done it, so, and I'm living proof.
See, it may start as not easy, but it gets easy. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. Yes. I remember we were going across country and we decided that we went to the Grand Canyon. And the Grand Canyon is interesting because the easy part is going down, but then you got to come up. Where usually if you climb mountains and shit, it's the first thing. And so that was a trip to change it. And yet, in what I love about AA, obviously, it gets easier as it goes along. Yeah, yeah. So you don't, the fear of the climbing up would keep you down in the Grand Canyon. But in this case, it gets easier as you go up. Yeah, yes, yeah. So, anyone else? Generally,
Yeah, Rico?
Yeah, I got my chatty Cathy hat on today. Nothing personal, Cathy. I love you too. Paul, I wonder, while we're talking and interacting, I'm reviewing what you've taken us through this big book. I'm gonna call it Kathleen's Big Book Excursion. One of the gold mines for me was that step 11, conscious contact, was really the goal. When before
yeah,
I was thinking it was prayer and meditation. So for me, that was a big deal. Big deal. That it's about the conscious contact. Forget how you get it. It's about the conscious contact, not the prayer and meditation isolated. So I want to thank you for that.
yes, yes. And that, I feel just the recognition of being conscious is profound. Yeah. Because a lot of people believe they're not conscious because they're agitated or stuff like that. That doesn't mean you're not conscious. Yeah. You're just conscious of self at that time, which makes you feel unconscious. But the consciousness has never gone unconscious. Yeah. Yeah. The head gets louder, and then we become self-conscious, and then we're almost like in an unconscious state. So we're in a spiritless servility, which is it's like a zombie eyes walking around doing the same old, same old. Yes. Yet the consciousness is still readily available at every moment because this is what drives everything. So it's what you're conscious of. So if you're conscious of consciousness, to me, that's a very high form of maintenance of consciousness. Yes. Just an acknowledgement that before you're crazy and you're flipped out or you're this or you're that, you're conscious first. Yeah. And I don't understand why we let what comes after categorize what's before. I would have what's before first, and then it's going to outshine circumstances and situations. Yeah. The consciousness itself is going to lead you out of this unconscious condition, yeah, of self. Yeah. Yeah. It's our inherent nature. We're awake. Did anyone want to be awake? Was anyone awake and then chose to be awake when this morning occurred? Were you there wide awake while you were asleep and then you decided to stop sleeping? No. You become conscious. We come out of a dream state and now we're conscious to something else called the day. Yes? But we were just as conscious in the dream state. If we didn't wake up, that would be reality to us, the dreaming that we were in. But we wake up in the morning. There's a morning. It causes a waking up. And what do we wake up as? Consciousness. Yeah. And then the head wants to make us conscious of it all day. And we've seen how that has failed. So we're attempting to put ourselves in a process so that we can lose interest in self or that mental activity so that we can gain interest again in the consciousness and become, they call it God conscious, but just conscious. Yeah. But now what comes after the consciousness seems to affect the consciousness. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe a thing can pierce into the no thing. Yeah, I don't. So I believe that consciousness is always available at all times, right where you are, with no requirement necessary to meet it. We just believe otherwise, because we've been fucking induced by thought to believe a lot of shit that's not really believable. Yeah. Yes. When people want to get into the moment, there must be a belief that they can be out of a moment. I do not believe you've been out of any moment you've ever been in. Do not. And if you go back and look at the tapes, you'll see yourself there. Oh, I was really out of it. No, you weren't. There you are getting arrested at Market and 6th Street. Oh, I was really out of it. No, the cops saw you. Yeah. This is insane. It's insane. Just insane. And I believe all you need is the idea, the possibility to entertain it being different, and so it will. Yeah. You have the way of life to allow a lot of work to be done. You can recover what was seemingly lost. Yeah. Not by looking for it, but by looking to be of service and all this stuff we do here. Yeah. Yeah. I feel. But I remember, the worst day of my life, I was conscious. The best day of my life, I was conscious. Yeah. Consciousness seems to be the space of it that allows all these experiences to become available. Yeah. I would say. So I believe there's a larger, but I'm not going there today. Go there later. But yeah, so improve one's conscious contact. That means we're always in conscious contact, but improve one's conscious contact. Yes? Like my friend said, he was misintroduced to God when he was a kid. So AA reintroduced him. Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like that. Anyone else? Or we'll start saying goodbye.
Yeah, we have also Sean.
Hey, sorry, my camera's pretty unreliable.
Oh, it's okay, Sean. We can hear you.
It's kind of alcoholic a little bit, but could you talk a little bit about free will?
Yes. If you feel like you have it, do the next right thing. There you go. If you feel like you have it, do the next right thing. See how that goes. Yeah. Now, I'm not telling you what I believe or not, but if you believe you have free will, do the next right thing. Yeah. Obviously, if you sit still, there's usually an opposite of what to do or not to do. Do the next right thing. Yeah. Come later on, I have a different idea of free will. I'll share at the other meeting. But this way here, taking ourselves to be all this other stuff, the idea of being an individual is rooted in the sense of free will. Because the whole story of you at being unique, it would have to be your life. And if you weren't the one choosing it, then it wouldn't be your life, would it? So no, self-will is incredibly important to reinforce the idea that you're an individual. Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah.
That all right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even the term self-will, it kind of just, yeah, explains itself.
Well, there's will, and then when the way I see the word self-will is like there's will directed by this idea of self, and that self-will, any life run on that is hardly going to be a success. That's an incredible diagnosis in the big book. Yeah. So
Yeah.
any life, not just drinking or drugs, any life run on self-will hardly be a success. So there's going to be will, period. Yes. But what is directing the will? And in most cases, in the alcoholic life, it's self. Self is directing the will, and you're making tons of decisions based on self that are bringing you great misfortune you feel you don't deserve. Yeah. So there's the will, but it's the more important thing is what's directing the will. So we have turned over our will and life over to a care of a higher power, and the design for living that encases that is the suggestions and the program of recovery. Yeah. And yeah. So basically, you see the self will gets broken when the self will says, I want to do this. And then you go to a meeting. Yeah. And you see demonstrations of the self wills getting broken. And actually, your life is looking better. Yeah. And now you sort of reinforce that idea. I'm turning my will and my life over to the care of something greater than self. So I'm asking this program and the power through the program to do what I can't do, which is to direct my will instead of having self direct my will.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So we're just wanting a new employer instead of the old employer, or a new driver instead of the old driver, because we are driven. So what would be the fuel of driven? It would be will. So will is like a fuel that drives all of our action figures. Yes. And the will is going to have the effect more so than not by the will, but by what's driving the will, be it self or something else. So we know what it's like to have to live under the driver of self. We can describe it, and there's great knowledge and value in the knowledge of self that can turn into nothing by self-knowledge. So, yeah, yeah. So we pounce on it all every day, every meeting. We're looking at, there may be subtleties, but for this presentation, there is only two things in the perhaps there's a better way. There's the old way and the new way. The old way is trusting finite self. The new way is trusting the infinite. Yes. With what? With your will and life. That's what are you trusting it with? Your shoes? Yeah. A book you like? No, you're turning your will and life over to the care of higher power. Yeah. You're trusting the infinite with the hopes and then a great faith that it's going to do a better job than what was directing it before. Yeah, that's the whole process. So
Yeah,
will is a very valuable commodity we have. Yeah, and we can turn it over to the one or the other. And most of us know what it was like to be turned over to self, and now we're enjoying the effects of having it turned over to the higher power. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, faith is an integral part of that.
Faith is
Uh,
before the will. Yes. Faith uh, is the force that finds action through will. Yes. What you're having faith in is really going to drive the will. And so it's easy to diagnose if you have faith in self because, yeah, it's going to be pretty easy to recognize. And you'll come to know when there's faith in the higher power. Yeah, because it will demonstrate. It's like Jesus says, you'll know the tree by its fruit. Yeah. A good tree cannot bring forth bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bring forth good fruit. You'll know the tree by the fruit. Yeah. AA says self is sort of, I don't like your term bad, but for the paint the picture, self would be seen as the bad tree. Yeah. So, but this is seeing it and expressing it through the lens of recovery. That's what we're doing. Yeah. So, if that's what I say, when people say about self-will, if you believe you have it, then do the next right thing. Yeah. If you don't believe it, do the next thing. It's, you're going to be moved somehow. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Maybe we'll talk about that at the next meeting in the afternoon because there are some takes about self-will and individuality that are I feel very important. Yeah. If you weren't the doer of this life, whose life would it be anyway? The whole story that gets written day after day has some integral parts, and one of them is that you're choosing to do shit or not choosing to do shit. This is what sets off pride, guilt, shame, all this. Yes? It's like mental confetti because of this parade of being the doer and just constantly, constantly. And it's really there just to block the vision, the clarity of seeing. Yeah. You're in like a blizzard of guilt and shame or pride or I'm doing it. And it's a part of the process. The action figure feels so shitty, then you do esteemable acts and you start feeling better. And then certain permission that you couldn't get seems to be given, and you're allowed to get somewhat better. And then, yes, yeah. At one point, I just needed to do some esteemable shit. It worked. I could talk up a big story, but I felt shitty because I had seemingly done tons of shitty things. Yeah. So, all right, let's use the poison as medicine. I'm going to do some good things and I'm going to feel better. And it worked. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the head has us being withheld from so much stuff at by the consequence of being the doer. Yeah. This is part of the big bondage of self, is the sense of being the doer. Because you have been convicted of certain things that you believe you did, and it's basically you're just living out a sentence. Yeah. Yes. And this is what you're really freed from when you're freed from the past by doing steps 9, 8, and 9. You're freed from the beholden of to the past of all those things that you seem to have thought were so terrible to do that you've been suffering the sentence of that ever since. Yeah. So when you're feeling great joy, you always have to bookend it, but I'm still fucked or whatever. Yes. It's like the bird knows it has the wings, but it won't leave the cage. The past binds you. Yeah. I came to a very clear clinical recognition that the shit I did while under the influence, I had no idea of doing it. Yeah. I was driven. I was used. And it brought me a great relief from the past. Yeah. Did all the amends, did everything we do. But instead of holding it as I did all that shit, I saw it as I was driven to do that shit by this idea of self. Yeah. Brought a lot of relief. And I'm really reaping the rewards of that relief because I'm not occupied by past much at all by the thoughts. The thoughts don't go there. It's weird. They just don't. It's like the door is wide open, but it's because there's no regret in it. The thoughts don't go there. The door is wide open of the past, and yet I don't regret it. So the thoughts don't know what to do. They get sort of stuck in an awkward thing. They, you know, then they're like thoughts about going to a thrift store or something like that. They don't have. I was going to make them have a really shitty day. I can't do anything. So yes, that idea of being the doer of all that shit is really a dead weight, a dead weight. Yeah, it's dead. Yeah, escape that old idea, or if not, the results will be nil. Yeah, yeah. I could go on and on. I got an inkling of it early. The first inkling was I got the idea that this was a disease. Yeah, I did, which produced a lot of space in me. So the noose, I could see the noose and I had some breathing room. Yeah, I wasn't calling it my neck. I could see it. And then I was confronted with one of my first amends. It was like bushwhacked me. And the girl she came in the room and I knew I was with some people I knew. And she said, hello, Paul, do you remember me? And I said, no. She says, you owe me $500. And then it came back to my memory that I had ripped her off. And you would think I would have felt guilty, but I didn't. What I felt was, and I said it immediately, what I did to you, I would have done to anyone, unless you could have physically stopped me. And it was the closest to the truth I'd been for most of my life. And I made an amends and paid her the money back. But I had no guilt or shame about it because I knew I was driven by something. That was the beginning of getting really a great relief from it. As the understanding opened up, yeah, yeah. But that was the first window of recognizing it was a disease and I was infected by it and I acted out like everyone else who's infected by it. Yeah, wow. What a great fucking, it was like an era of breath of fresh air coming into all my old ideas. Yeah. So it doesn't stop there. Once you're onto something, it opens up. More gets revealed, as it says in our vision for us. Once there's a little opening, it opens more. Yeah. So first I saw it as a disease, then I saw that which has defeated me, self, and then I saw it as foreign to me, and therefore I got relief. Yes. All right. Well, let's say goodbye. Hey, Rico, thank you. I don't want Rico to have a new record of 4 questions in one session, so we're going to shut it off now. You're up there, Rico. Number 1, 3 questions. Dave W. Nice to see you, Dave. I hope it's all working with you, eh? Yes, great. Same with John Bentz. Nice to meet you, John. Mickey, Roman Mueller, Michael, my friend Michael Stacy, Chris Beatrice, Kathy, Vlad, Portugal, Kathleen, Mia, Terry. Nice to see Terry from Camarillo. Martin, beautiful day in Belgium. Yes. Kay, nice to see you, Kay. Miss Folkman, does a great job. Yes. These principles don't have a singular target. You can use, Yes. Andy Gardner, nice to see you, Andy. Arturs, Robert Crossman, nice to see you, bro. Thank you for the donations. And I think a friend of ours, a guy named Charlie, sent me an album, a record. I got to get a record player now. If he's listening, if it's a Charlie, I think it is. Thank you, Charlie. I miss you guys. I miss you. He was coming to the live a long time ago. But blessings, Charlie, your way. And I'm going to get a record player and I'm going to listen to it. It's a big one. It's an album thing. Kathy in Cleveland. Nice to see you, honey. Chris up in Boston area, I think. Arturs, Kay, Martin, Robert, Miss Folkman, Andy, Terry. I think I got everyone. I'm missing some people, but I can't get to the other page. Hey, thank you so much. We're here at 4:30 Pacific time today. Just to leave you with one thing, that which thinks it has self-will isn't you. Let's just put it that way. Could be interesting. That which says and professes and swears that it has free will is not of you. Yeah. All right. Thanks. See you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.